Hi class, today we're going to learn how to analyze data in box and whisker plots. So box and whisker plots, or also called box plots, they are just another way to display data. So we've already learned how to display data in line plots, dot plots, circle graphs, bar graphs, stem and leaf plots. Again, this is just another way to take a data set and then to put it in a box plot to display the data. Here is an example of a box plot. So a box plot shows a set of data, but it's divided into 4 equal parts. And those parts are called quartiles. So when you compare box plots, the quartiles are an important feature that sometimes allow for easier comparison than the normal central measures, mean, median, mode. So let's go ahead and look at this here. It's called the 5-number summary that makes up a box plot because you need 5 numbers to create a box plot. And that's the least value, which is your smallest value, your greatest value, which is your largest value. Then your median. Your median is one of those central measures of tendency that you know how to find. So you definitely need the median. Then you need what's called a lower quartile, or this is also called quartile 1. The lower quartile is actually half of the bottom half of the data. So from the least value to the median, you're cutting this portion of the box plot or the data set in half to find the lower quartile, just like you cut the data in half to find the median. Then you look at the upper half of your data set, your numbers, and you find the middle value of them or the median of them, and that's your upper quartile. This is also called Q3. And I'm just going to put this in here. So your lower quartile is quartile 1. It's also called that. Your median is going to also be called quartile 2. And then the upper quartile is also called quartile 3. So these names are interchangeable, okay? And I just want to give you an example. Let's say each one of these lines represent a number in order from least to greatest. So if that's the case, this here is going to be your least number, okay, your smallest number. This number here is going to be your greatest number. Okay, those are the 2 important parts of your 5-number summary. The next number that you have to find is your median, which is the middle. So let's look here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 numbers. So because there's an even amount of numbers, I know that it's going to be in between 2 numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers on the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers on the right. Okay, so my median is actually going to be right here in between these 2 numbers. And to find the median in between 2 numbers, we know that we add these 2 numbers together and then divide by 2, and that would be my median number. So whatever number I get when I add these 2 together and divide by 2, that would be my median, which in this case is 30. So maybe I'll add that in a second. I'll go ahead and add that in. So the median here is 30. And then my least quartile, that's about 1. My largest value is about 90. Okay, so these are some numbers that we know. These are 3 of the numbers in the 5-number summary. Okay, then if I look here, I'm going to take this lower half of the data. So here's my lower half of this data. All right, all of these numbers here. And I'm just going to look at them. And I'm going to find the median of these numbers. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So that means that this number here is the median of the lower half. See, right? That's the middle. There's 2 on the left and 2 on the right. Well, here I can see that the median number is 20. That's called my lower quartile. This here is my lower quartile. We can use LQ or Q1. to represent that. Then I'm going to look at my upper half of my data, and I'm going to find the median of that, and that's going to be called my upper quartile, or Q3. Okay, so I'm just looking at this set of data, and I'm going to find the median of that. Okay, well, again, there are 5 numbers. So the third number, this one here, is going to be the upper quartile. Okay, and in this case, it's about 54. And this is called the upper quartile. Now, we don't know what this number here is in this data set. I know that there's a number in between 1 and 20. Technically, just by looking at this, you don't even know how many numbers are in there. But I know that there is going to be at least 1 in between these, but you don't know what it is. It's just somewhere between 1 and 20. It could be 2, it could be 19, it could be 10. We don't know what these numbers are, these numbers, or this number. But these 5 numbers here are what make up the 5-number summary. Okay? And then this is going to represent 25% of the data. From here to here is 25. From here to here is 25. And then here to here is 25. Okay? So these are just some important things that we're learning about box plots, how to read them. So the median score divides the data set in half. So what that means is that from here to the median, here, that's half of the data. Half of the data is 50%. So that means from here to here is 50% of the data, right? Then from the median to the end, I'm kind of covering up some stuff here. This here is another 50% of the data, okay? Because it's divided in half. The middle, the box in the middle, that's also 50% because from here to here is 25, from here to here is 25. So this box is 25%, this box is 25%. So this is really important here. This center of the box, it tells you where the middle 50% of the data is, which is really important. This is what we really want to know, the middle 50% of the data. And what's nice about that is we're going to talk about in a few days outliers. By just looking at the middle 50% of the data, you can look at where the majority of the middle of the data takes place, and we can leave out outliers. So there aren't always outliers, but a lot of times there are. By looking at the middle 50%, you get a better idea of the data, okay? These lines here from the least value to the lower quartile and then the greatest value to the upper quartile, we call these whiskers, right? I think about a kitty cat. Like, it looks like a kitty cat with whiskers. The last bullet point here, it says 25% of the data is below the lower quartile and 25% of the data is above the upper quartile. So that just goes back to talking about that each part of this is 25%. So here to here is 25. From here to here is 25. From here to here is 25. From here to here is 25% of the data. 25 plus 25 plus 25 plus 25, that's 100% of the data. Okay? I'm just going to go in to show you how to create a box plot. Tomorrow we're going to go more in depth on how to create a box plot, and you're going to be required to create a box plot. Today we're really just analyzing box plots, but in order to analyze the box plot, I think that it's important that you know how the box plot was created. Okay, so I'm just going to briefly go over how it's created, and I kind of did that 2 slides ago. But first, the important part is if I want to put this data set into a box plot, so I want to display it as a box plot, I have to put the numbers in order from least to greatest because I have to find the median, and the numbers have to be in order from least to greatest to do that. So I did that for us. Okay, the smallest number is 13. Well, that's going to be my minimum value. So that's really important to know. There's 5 numbers that you need to create a box plot, and that's the minimum, the maximum, the median, the middle of that, okay, the lower quartile, and then the upper quartile. And again, lower quartile is also called quartile 1. Okay. And then we also need the upper quartile or quartile 3. Sorry. The median is quartile 2. Okay. So minimum, we already know the minimum. That's min and max are the two easiest. So min, 13. Okay. The max is 25. That's your greatest number. Okay, those two we know. So if I wanted to graph these 2 points here, I can go ahead and do that. And we do that with just a circle. So 13 is in between 12 and 14. So I would put a circle here on my graph. Let's move it over so it's right in the middle of 12 and 14. And then I'm going to put a maximum at 25 because that's my largest number. Okay, that's the start of my box plot. Well, now I have to find the median. That's the middle line in between the whole box. So the median, right? Median's the middle number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 numbers. So I know if I divide 9 in half, that's 4.5. So there should be 4 numbers on the left and 4 numbers on the right with 1 number in the middle. That's 19. And I'm going to check. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 numbers on the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 numbers on the right. So that means that my median is 19. 19 is the middle. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put a dot, or no, I'm sorry, I put a line at 19. I did not mean to put a red line. That's okay. So that's my median. Now, my lower quartile. That is the median of the lower half of the data. So let's look at the lower half of the data. That's from here to here, not including your median. Okay, so that's just this. And you have to find the median of the lower half. So just in between these 4 numbers, I'm finding the median value. Okay, the median value is going to be in the middle. So I'm going to just cross off left to right. Okay, there. Oh, look, it's in between these 2 numbers here. So I can add them together and then divide by 2. And I know that that's going to be 16. So my lower quartile is 16. Okay. I'm going to go and put another line at 16. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 data sets. I need 5 to create a box plot. So I need to find the upper quartile. Well, now I'm going to find the median of the upper half of the data. So these 4 numbers. Again, I don't include my median. My median stays separate. Well, if I were to cross off from left to right, I could find the number in the middle. It's going to be the number in the middle of 21 and 21. If I add 21 plus 21 and then divide by 2, I get 21. And that's just kind of common sense, right? What's in between 21 and 21? It's 21. Okay, so my upper quartile is 21. I'm going to go to my box plot and I'm going to put another line. So notice the 3 numbers in the middle, my lower quartile, my median, and my upper quartile, they all get lines. The dots at the end are my min and max. Then I'm going to draw the line. These are called my whiskers from the boxes to connect. And then I'm just going to connect these to create my box. I now have a box plot. Wonderful. I'll put a black line in the middle. It's just a little consistent. So this is my minimum, my lower quartile, my median, my upper quartile, and my maximum. And I created a box plot. Right now we're going to go into analyzing box plots. So it says, which class has a greater median attendance and how much greater is it? So here's 2 different classes. They're knitting classes. We have class A and class B. Which class has a greater median? Well, the median's the middle of the box. So here's my median for class A. Here's my median for class B. So class B has a greater median. Well, it says how much greater is it? Here is 14